Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever noticed how one single thought in the morning can decide the direction of your entire day? What if the words you speak to yourself before the world even wakes up could shape your energy, your choices, even your future? And here's the real question. Are you using that power or letting it slip away? Every morning, your first thoughts set the tone. Tell yourself you're tired and the day drags. Tell yourself you're strong and you rise with strength. Your mind follows your voice. Speak truth before doubt shows up. Say the right words and your actions will obey. Morning self-talk isn't just routine, it's your launch pad. Use it with intent. In a moment, you'll see how powerful affirmations can reshape your mindset, direction, energy, and entire life. Each day begins as a clean slate. Yesterday is gone, the ink has dried. What matters is what you choose to write today. Too many wake up carrying old mistakes, as if failure is permanent. It's not. Failure is feedback. Yesterday was your teacher, today is your opportunity. You begin anew when you decide to. When you rise and say, no matter what happened before, I choose who I am now. That's freedom. The freedom to shape your attitude, define your day, and refuse to let it define you. So how do you begin fresh? By refusing to dwell, by dressing with purpose, and by stepping into life like a man on a mission. Treat each morning as day one, and your mind resets. You start to see possibility, not patterns. Think of a soldier at dawn. Does he focus on yesterday's fatigue? No, he straps his boots and moves forward. Can you do the same? What if today truly was your first day on Earth? What would you try? Who would you become? You decide, because no one else owns your direction. Your mind is a lantern. Wherever you point it, that's what gets lit. But most people scatter their light, flickering from one worry to the next. No wonder they feel lost. You are not like that. You don't drift, you direct. And every morning, remind yourself, I control what I focus on. Not the noise, not the doubts, not what others are doing. Only what pulls you closer to your goal. Focus sharpens your purpose. Without it, your strength dissolves. So how do you master it? Start with your very first thoughts. What are you feeding your mind, fear or fuel? Speak your focus out loud, write it down, hold it in front of you like a compass. Picture a man building a house. If he stares at his neighbor's yard, will his own walls ever rise? Of course not. But if he lays brick after brick, unmoved by distraction, a solid home stands tall. Which one are you becoming? Are you chasing scattered sparks or building a steady flame? Real strength is quieter than you think. It's not always a crown or a shout. Sometimes it's the man who wakes up sore and still chooses to build. Sometimes it's the woman who carries invisible burdens and still gives her best. True strength doesn't beg for recognition. It shows itself in quiet persistence. The worker who returns despite fatigue, the parent who gives without applause, the soul who rises after every fall. That is strength, and it's already in you. Even when it feels distant, it's there. Even when doubt clouds your mind, it waits. Strength doesn't vanish because you feel weak. It hides beneath hesitation, waiting for action to bring it alive. Feelings are not facts. They shift like the wind. 1 hour full of confidence, the next filled with doubt. But your will is different. Your will is anchored. It runs deeper than fear and louder than exhaustion. Feelings may whisper that you're not ready, that you should rest, that today isn't the day. But those whispers aren't your true voice. They're distractions. You don't need to feel powerful to act with power. You only need to decide. Strength begins with a decision, not a sensation. You choose to rise. You choose to continue. Through that choice, your inner power awakens, even when your emotions lag behind. Each morning, speak this truth. I am stronger than I feel. Say it out loud if you must. Not as empty motivation, but as a command, a declaration of who you are becoming. Refuse to wait for the perfect feeling. Refuse to delay until confidence appears. Move without it. Begin anyway. Action is what trains emotion. It teaches your body and mind that you are capable. As you move forward, fear fades. The strength you thought was missing rises because you awakened it through action, not feeling. What does strength look like? It's doing what must be done before your excuses start speaking. It's choosing the task when your mind suggests delay. It's moving your body when comfort tempts you to stop. Real strength isn't emotional, it's decisional. Every time you act before your mood approves, you sharpen your edge. You prove to yourself what you're really made of. And day by day, you stop depending on motivation because discipline takes over. Once awakened, discipline becomes a fire that never stops burning. Picture this. You rise before the sun. The house is still. No audience, no rewards, just silence and your decision. You lace your boots, lift the pen, open the book, train, and show up. That quiet choice, that invisible victory, this is real strength. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniable. It's the kind of strength that builds legacies, the kind that grows without applause. Ask yourself, are you following your feelings, or are you finally leading them into action? Because once you lead them, they will follow. And then you'll realize, you've been strong all along. I am responsible for my life. Each morning holds a sacred moment, a pause before the world's noise rushes in, before distractions take over. In that space, you decide, will I take command, or will I drift? Most men miss this moment. They rise late and react to the day as if they were victims of fate. And when life strikes hard, they look outward. They blame the government, their job, their upbringing, everything but themselves. But the man who wins refuses to play the blame game. He stands before the mirror and declares, it's on me. That's where true power begins, not in perfection, but in ownership. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's a weapon. It separates men who lead from men who complain. When you take full ownership of your life, you become unshakable. No longer at the mercy of others' actions, no longer controlled by fate or fear, you rise as your own authority. The moment you stop blaming is the moment you start building. You don't need permission. You don't need a lucky break. You need one conviction. This is my life, and I will shape it. That is the highest form of power, a man who owns his path, no matter how broken it began. Speak it daily. I am responsible for my life. Speak it with conviction, even when everything feels like a mess. Especially then, because only the responsible man can repair what's broken. Only he can rebuild from the ruins. If your health is failing, change your habits. If your mind feels clouded, sharpen it with truth. If your work drains you, create something better. Responsibility means you're not waiting for a rescue helicopter. You are the rescue. You climb, you crawl, you rise, not because it's easy, but because it's yours to carry. So how do you live this truth? Through decisions. Not talk, not intentions, decisions. Every meal is a vote for strength or for sickness. Every hour you spend plants a seed for harvest or for regret. Every conversation either builds your character or corrodes it. There are no neutral choices. You are casting votes all day long. And the man who understands this becomes powerful, not overnight, but with each deliberate step. Responsibility isn't found only in big moments. It's hidden in the small choices that quietly shape your entire life. Picture a captain at sea. A storm rises, thunder cracks, waves roar. Does he sit and curse the ocean? Does he complain about the weather? No. He takes the wheel, studies the winds, adjusts the sails. He leads not because he controls the storm, but because he controls the ship. That's who you must become. Life will never stop throwing storms your way. But storms aren't the enemy. Passivity and blame are. The man who blames the sea never reaches the shore. The one who leads, no matter the storm, always finds his way. So ask yourself, who's steering your ship this morning? Is it the part of you that complains, delays, and waits, or the part that acts, builds, and endures? Every day the wheel is in front of you, and you only have two choices, grab it or drift. Let others waste time blaming. Let others wait for calmer tides. But you steer, you adjust, you move forward. You may not control the storm, but you can always control your course. That's responsibility, that's real power. I speak power into my day. Words are not noise, not filler, not decoration. Words are commands. Every sentence you speak is a seed, planted deep in the mind, shaping what grows next. Tell yourself you're tired long enough, and your body obeys. Call yourself unlucky, and life will echo it. But speak strength, and your spirit stands taller. Declare resilience, and your body aligns with it. You're not just talking about life, you're speaking into it. That's why weak words are dangerous. They shrink you, they soften you. But powerful words sharpen you, making you unstoppable. Each morning you face a choice. Not just what to wear or what to eat, but what to say. What you speak when you rise sets the rhythm for the day ahead. Will you declare defeat before the battle begins? Or will you choose words that prepare your soul to win? The man who rises in power speaks with purpose. He says, I am focused. I am ready. I am disciplined. In time, his body, his mind, and his habits align with those declarations. He becomes what he says because he chooses to speak life, not laziness. So how do you use this truth? Simple. Don't wait for the world to set your tone. Don't let the news or someone else's complaint dictate your day. You speak first. Wake up and command the morning. Look in the mirror and declare, I don't shrink, I rise. This day belongs to me. Speak before fear has a chance to whisper, before doubt has time to creep in. Words are like fire. Ignite them early and they'll burn through anything the world throws at you. Picture two men waking side by side. One groans, mutters, it's too early, I hate this. His shoulders slump, his steps drag, and he walks into the day already defeated. The other man opens his eyes and says, let's go, I was built for this. His spine straightens, his steps are sharp. By noon, one is drowning in excuses while the other is already halfway to victory. And the only difference? Words. One cursed the day, the other commanded it. Now ask yourself, which one will you be? Start small, start real, but declare before doubt has its say. Your words are either weapons or weights. They're lifting you or chaining you down. There is no neutral. Every word fuels you or drains you. And you must become a master of this spoken battle. Bless your day before it even begins. Say, I am focused. I am calm. I am relentless. Say it even when you don't feel it, especially then, because feelings follow your voice. Soon your reality will align with the words you choose to live by. This isn't magic, it's maturity. Weak men wait to feel strong before they speak strong. Warriors know speech comes first. The sword of the tongue carves the path of the body. So speak it every single day. Don't just talk about goals, declare them. Don't just wish for discipline, claim it out loud. Let your language become your armor. Let your voice build your destiny. Say it until your feet move, until habits form, until results catch up to your beliefs. Ask yourself, are your words sharpening your blade or dulling your edge? Are they fueling your fight or feeding your fears? Every word is a choice, every sentence a step. If you want to rise, speak upward. Speak forward. Speak boldly. Because the man who controls his mouth eventually controls his future. Let the world murmur doubt. Let the weak complain. But your words command, conquer, and create. Say it. I am bigger than any obstacle. When a challenge blocks your path, the mind has only two choices, shrink or rise. Most people shrink. They let obstacles whisper lies. This is the end. You weren't meant to win. They treat every delay as denial, every struggle as a signal to stop. But you're not like most people. You weren't made to bow down. You were built to climb. Every great man you admire once stood where you stand now, face to face with something that looked bigger than him. Instead of folding, he rose. And so must you. Obstacles don't break a man, they reveal him. Something powerful happens when you rise within, even before circumstances change. The weight may still press down, but your posture shifts, your energy transforms. You start to see the obstacle not as a wall, but as a test. Each time you speak power to yourself, you chip away at the lie that you're too small. Say it aloud. I am bigger than this. Because you are. Your voice, your will, your determination, stronger than the challenge if you let them lead. You don't need the mountain to move. You need your spirit to grow. Stop waiting for life to get easier. It won't. Life doesn't soften for the unprepared. It sharpens the prepared. And that's who you are becoming now. Stronger, sharper, more committed. The stronger your spirit, the smaller the problem appears. Look back for a moment. How many impossible things have you already survived? So what makes this one any different? This isn't punishment, it's a platform. It's not here to stop you, it's here to shape you. When your back is against the wall, don't collapse, expand. The man who wins is the one who grows bigger than the problem. He doesn't wait for the storm to pass. He learns to walk through the rain. Every hardship carries a hidden gift, but only the determined ever find it. Why? Because most people stop at discomfort. Yet discomfort is not a warning. It's an invitation to grow, to transform, to become unshakable. If you run from every hard thing, you'll never meet your strongest self. But if you lean in, you rise above it. So how do you rise? First, look at the obstacle. Then, look at yourself. Which one is more permanent? The obstacle only lives as long as you let it. The moment you decide to face it, solve it, or learn from it, it begins to lose its grip. But if you hesitate, it grows, feeding on your delay. That's why you must respond quickly, with strength, not fear, with vision, not confusion. Your future doesn't bow to obstacles. It waits for you to face them. Here's the truth. Problems last only as long as you refuse to act. They don't vanish on their own. They fade because you outgrow them, because you stood up one more time, because you chose progress over pity. The moment you say, "I'm done being stuck," you are no longer the same person. You don't need permission. You don't need rescue. You need only a made-up mind. Once you commit fully, without hesitation, the obstacle shrinks to its true size. That's the moment you rise. Picture this. A man walks down a path and finds a giant boulder blocking his way. One man sits and waits. Maybe the wind will move it. Maybe help will arrive. Nothing happens. Years pass. The boulder becomes part of his identity. But another man sees the same boulder, picks up a chisel, and starts cutting steps into the very rock meant to stop him. He climbs higher with every strike, and one day he looks back, not just at the mountain he moved, but at the strength he gained by refusing to quit. Obstacles are mirrors. They don't show you the world, they show you yourself. When a problem makes you freeze, the real issue isn't the challenge, it's the belief behind it. Maybe you've told yourself, "I can't," or "This always happens to me." Break that belief. Replace it. Speak power even when you feel powerless. Say, "This ends with me. I rise now." Because when your mind believes it, your body follows, your habits shift, your spirit lifts. Suddenly, the very thing that once scared you now empowers you. Remember this. Difficulty is not defeat. It's a demand for strength, for creativity, for persistence. When something blocks your way, it isn't saying stop. It's asking, how badly do you want it? If your answer is strong enough to endure, to learn, to rise, then the obstacle becomes your path. Don't waste time asking, "Why me?" Start asking, "What must I become to break this?" That single question changes everything. It makes you the builder, not the victim. The victor, not the excuse maker. So let me ask you, are you bowing to your problem, or are you standing taller than it? Every moment you hesitate, the obstacle wins. Every moment you rise, you reclaim your power. There is no easy path, only the one you carve. The road will never clear itself, but you can clear the doubt. You can outlast the pain. You can overpower the fear. Rise above what blocks you, and soon others will follow the path you created through the very storm they once feared. Be that man. Build that path. Rise. Say it with conviction, "My actions shape my future." You don't stumble into success. You build it. You build it one decision, one action, 1 hour at a time. The man who rises isn't the one waiting for opportunity. He's the one creating it. Every morning begins with the same burning question. Will you shape this day, or let it shape you? The weak man drifts, but the strong man works. The one who wins doesn't chase perfection. He builds progress. He doesn't blame the past or fear the future. He takes hold of the present, knowing this hour is power. This day is direction. The past is gone. The future isn't promised, but the present. This is your tool, your sword, your pen. Every move you make today carves into your destiny. Each step, no matter how small, is either sculpting a champion or sabotaging one. When you understand that, you stop wasting days. You use them. You stop waiting for motivation. You create momentum. Declare it now. My actions shape my future. Say it until it burns into your mind. Because the man you want to become is being formed right now by what you choose next. Success doesn't happen in an instant. It comes through rhythm, a rhythm of discipline, sacrifice, and choosing progress over comfort. That rhythm begins the moment you wake. Don't wander. Don't drift into reaction. Command the day. Wake up and step straight into forward motion. Even 5 minutes of focused energy can ignite momentum. Choose one hard thing and do it first. Why? Because the hard thing unlocks your inner strength, and that strength sets the tone for everything else. The man who wins isn't always the fastest or the smartest. He's the one who moves while others hesitate. So move. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Perfection is the lie that keeps men idle. Action is the truth that wakes them up. If your heart is beating and your feet can move, you have enough to start. Let motion bring clarity. Let each step reveal what standing still never will. Every step teaches you something. What works, what doesn't, and most importantly, who you really are when it matters. The secret to turning motion into power is acting with intention. Because most people are busy, but few are truly building. Don't confuse activity with progress. You must aim. Every action should move you closer to your highest vision, not just keep you busy. Before every task, ask yourself, does this matter? If not, let it go. If yes, double down. Your life is not a to-do list. It's a blueprint, and every stroke must be deliberate. Wasted motion leads to wasted life, but focused action builds a legacy. Picture a craftsman standing before raw wood. In his mind, he sees a throne, but that vision means nothing until his hands move. He reaches for his chisel, shaping with precision, pouring sweat into every detail. Each cut, each adjustment, brings the future into form. The same is true for you. Dreams without discipline die as fantasies, but discipline with direction, that's creation, that's power. So what tool will you pick up today? Will you write, build, train, or speak? Whatever it is, let it shape your future, not just fill your hours. Now imagine the opposite. A man with ambition but no action. He talks, he plans, he even means well, but nothing gets built. His energy drains into conversations instead of creation. His confidence fades because nothing moves. That is the tragedy of idle ambition. It feels like progress, but builds nothing. Don't fall into that trap. Talk less, act more. Speak with your hands. Let your results do the talking. And let the silence of focused effort echo louder than the noise of 1,000 empty intentions. It's easy to stay busy, to check boxes, to call it a day because you did something. But were you effective? Did you build something real today, or just manage the chaos? Stop measuring your worth in minutes. Start measuring in moves. One step toward your dream is worth more than 10 hours of maintenance. Begin your morning with a plan, but end it with proof. Proof that you acted like a builder. Proof that you chose progress. Proof that you didn't just talk about the future. You started carving it. And if you slip, if the morning gets away from you, begin again. At midday, evening, even midnight. There's always a place to restart. The builder's mind doesn't chase the perfect schedule. It looks for the next brick. Pick it up, stack it, then the next. You don't rise in a day, but you rise daily. Not by waiting for breakthroughs, but by building into them, one steady strike at a time. So ask yourself, honestly, are your actions leading somewhere or just keeping you busy? That difference defines everything. Every action is either laying a foundation or wasting material. And at the end of your days, the man you become will be the sum of choices you made when no one was watching. So move with meaning. Strike with purpose. Build as if your future depends on it, because it does. You don't stumble into greatness. You forge it one focused hour at a time. I decide what defines me. The world will try to name you. Easy, average, broken. It will reach for labels rooted in your lowest moments, your worst decisions, your past failures. But hear this. Those labels aren't yours unless you wear them. Unless you agree, unless you bow to someone else's definition. Every morning, you get the chance to choose who you are. Say it aloud. I decide what defines me. Not your parents, not your boss, not your failures, you. That choice is yours. And if you don't make it, someone else will. You are not your past. Your past is a chapter, not your character. It explains where you've been, but it does not dictate where you're going. What matters is this. What do you do next? Your power lies not in perfection, but in persistence. It's not about being untouched by failure, but about refusing to be moved by it. People will talk. They always do. They'll whisper, judge, assume. Let them. You don't need to argue or explain. You simply build, live, work, and act. Through your actions, you name yourself. You become undeniable. You stop answering to noise and start responding to your purpose. Because when you act with clarity, you walk with power. No one can define the man who knows exactly who he is. No one can shrink the one who stands tall from within. So how do you define yourself with clarity? You get still. You stop running from your truth and face it head on. You ask, what do I stand for? What do I refuse to compromise? What do I want my name to mean when I'm gone? These aren't easy questions, and that's why most avoid them. But if you dare to decide who you are before the world tries to tell you, you'll rise above the noise. More than that, you'll walk in purpose. Identity is not discovered, it's decided. You choose it daily through your principles, your work, and your vision. If you say you are disciplined, then show it. If you say you are resilient, then prove it. Don't wait for someone else to see your worth. Live in a way that forces the world to respect it. Stop accepting titles you never agreed to. Start earning the ones you want. Each act is more than a task. It's a declaration of who you are becoming. The world will try to attach its limits to your name. He's not that smart. She's not leadership material. They're just average. But you don't have to carry those names. Break them, burn them, replace them. Change begins with this shift. Stop listening to what others call you and start calling yourself what you intend to become. Don't ask the world for permission to rise. Declare who you are and then become it, day by day, through your actions. Imagine two men, both rejected, both overlooked. One hears it and says, "I guess they're right." He folds, he fades, and carries the world's label like a badge. The other hears it and says, "Watch me." He doesn't argue, doesn't explain, he executes. A year later, one is still defending himself, still waiting for approval, while the other walks into the room and the room listens. Not because respect was handed to him, but because he earned it by how he lived. This is the power of naming yourself. When you choose your own name, the world eventually adjusts. They may laugh at first, they may resist, but if your actions match your declaration, they can't ignore it. Consistency becomes undeniable. You don't need to shout your identity, you need to live it. Live in a way that makes your truth visible without applause, validation, or agreement. And yes, it takes courage. Naming yourself means rejecting comfort, refusing victimhood, and saying, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I do about it." Most people never make this shift. They wait for someone to validate, to rescue, to crown them. But the strongest crown themselves. They don't just hope to be seen. They build lives that cannot be ignored. And it all begins with naming yourself before the world has the chance to do it for you. So ask yourself, are you letting others define you? Are you carrying labels that don't belong to you? Or have you made the decision to name yourself, to author your own identity? Freedom begins here, not when people finally see your value, but when you decide it. When you stand in the mirror and declare, "This is who I am, this is what I stand for." And no matter what they say, you prove it by how you live. Your name is not what they call you. Your name is what you respond to. Every day you write it with your choices, your habits, your standards. If you want a new life, give yourself a new name, and then live in a way that makes it real. Let your focus declare it, let your effort define it, and let the world adjust to you. Once you know who you are, no one else can name you again. I am not afraid of effort. Most people crave ease. They want results without resistance, rewards without responsibility. They chase shortcuts, comfort, and fear the sweat real progress demands. But the man who rises knows the truth. Effort is a gift. The sweat, the grind, the long hours aren't burdens. They're blessings in disguise. They shape discipline, sharpen focus, and forge the future. You weren't made for soft paths. You were built for the climb. The uphill doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. Resistance doesn't stop you. It molds you. The one who understands this doesn't run from difficulty. He runs into it. Each morning, say it aloud. I am not afraid of effort. Let that be your war cry, louder than your excuses. Because effort is the price of greatness, and you're willing to pay it. Ease has never built a champion. Ease breeds weakness, but effort builds empires. Every drop of sweat you pour into your mission is an investment, compounding into confidence, skill, and unshakable character. You may not feel the reward today, but it's coming. Effort never goes unnoticed. Effort isn't pain, it's proof. Proof you're moving forward, proof you're committed. When your muscles burn, when your mind resists, when the task feels heavy, that's when most people stop. But you, that's when you begin. You outwork the voice that says quit. You silence doubt with motion. You replace hesitation with hustle. And you do it by starting with the hardest task, the one you've been avoiding. That's your proving ground. The man who wins tackles the hardest task first, because it demands the most and reveals the most. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait until it feels right. Begin with intention, begin under pressure. Move even when you don't feel ready, especially then. That's how you separate yourself from the average, from the weak, from the talkers. Sweat with dignity, grind with purpose, and remember, every ounce of silent effort will one day speak loudly through your results. Let others avoid the weight, you carry it. Let others quit when it gets heavy, you grow stronger. Struggle doesn't scare you, it trains you. Think of a farmer tilling his soil under the burning sun. His hands blister, His back aches, but he doesn't complain. He doesn't wait for someone else to do the work. He keeps digging, planting, watering, day after day. Why? Because the harvest only belongs to the man who works. Not the one who watches, not the one who talks, but the one who shows up early, keeps going when tired, and refuses to stop when others stall. That's the man who reaps. That's the man who wins. Your life is your field, and the ground is hard for everyone. But only those willing to break it, shape it, and work it will taste the fruit. Most people want to skip the process and enjoy the reward, but you are not most people. You've chosen character over comfort, effort over ease. You've chosen the grind, and that choice will take you where shortcuts never can. It's not about what's easy, it's about what's earned. There will be days when nothing feels like it's working, when effort seems invisible. But that's when roots grow deepest. That's when the foundation is being laid. Most people quit right before the breakthrough, right before the reward. But the man who endures, who trusts the process, reaps what others only dream of. Because success isn't random. It's reserved for the committed, the consistent, the ones who keep hammering when the rest lose faith. That man becomes unstoppable. Let pain be your permission. The ache means you're building. The strain means you're growing. When others see discomfort as a reason to quit, you see it as a signal to push further. There's honor in hard work, showing up when no one's watching, doing the unseen, the unglamorous, the uncelebrated tasks. Those are the moments that forge champions. And when the world finally notices what you've built, they'll think it happened overnight. But you'll know it was paid for in sweat, earned inch by inch. You don't rise by accident. You rise by intention, by deciding each day is your chance to get sharper. You don't fear effort, you invite it. You don't run from the grind, you make it your ally. Let others beg for shortcuts, let them choose ease. You build your edge in the friction, because struggle creates strength and pressure reveals power. You don't want an easy life. You want a strong one, earned with effort and owned with pride. So ask yourself, are you choosing comfort over character? Are you staying soft when you should be sharpening? Or are you ready to earn the life others only dream of? The world rewards the man who works, not the one who whines, not the one who wishes. The one who works grows stronger, wiser, and gets what he came for. Choose effort. Choose discomfort. Choose to sweat. Because greatness never bows to the lazy. It waits for the man who shows up and earns it. One drop at a time. One battle at a time. One day at a time. I don't wait for motivation. I build discipline. Motivation is a visitor. It knocks, it whispers, and then it vanishes. Some mornings it sparks you awake. Other days it's nowhere to be found. If that's all you rely on, you'll stay inconsistent, confused, and powerless. But discipline, that's your house, your foundation. Discipline doesn't care about feelings. It stands when you're tired. It moves when you feel stuck. It shows up when motivation goes missing. The men who win don't depend on moods. They depend on actions. Because what you do, especially when you don't feel like it, is what makes you different. Each morning declare it. I don't wait for motivation. I build discipline. Let those words become law, then back them with action. Discipline isn't born in comfort, it's born in friction. When you rise while others sleep, when you move while others excuse themselves, when you begin before you feel ready, that's when discipline is forged. One act, one move, one task that says, I keep my word, no matter what. Discipline isn't about extremes, it's about repetition. You don't become great from one perfect day. You become great by doing what matters daily. Even on the off days, especially on the off days. You said you'd do it, so do it. Not for praise, not for the feeling, but for the standard. Every time you honor your own word, your confidence grows. You don't need approval from others when you trust yourself. That trust is built in silence, earned through sweat, and it begins with one decision. Show up on cold mornings, on tired evenings, through the long, unrewarded stretches. These aren't setbacks, they're tests. Discipline is built when no one sees you, when the applause is gone, and it's just you and the task. The world watches the highlight, but the man who wins lives through the routine. Not glamorous, not loud, but relentless. You keep showing up, not because it's exciting, but because you said you would. That integrity, that consistency, that's real power. Picture a blacksmith standing over the fire, hammer in hand. Some days the flame roars, some days it sputters, some days the steel bends with ease. Some days the steel bends easily, other days it resists. But the blacksmith doesn't stop. He keeps swinging, over and over, knowing the form is in the process and the beauty lies in repetition. Your life is no different. Your habits are the hammer, your decisions the strikes, and the future you want is the steel. Keep swinging, especially when it's hard. That's how greatness is shaped. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. There's only now. The undisciplined man waits. He waits for energy, for inspiration, for things to feel just right. But the disciplined man acts. He doesn't need the fire to be perfect. He brings the heat. He knows the fire grows brighter once the hammer swings. He doesn't wait for momentum. He creates it through movement. So ask yourself, have you swung your hammer today? Discipline is freedom, the power to choose what's hard now so life becomes easier later. Most people choose comfort and stay trapped. But you choose discomfort and grow stronger. Each disciplined act builds resilience, builds structure, builds you. The man who trains when it's inconvenient, works when it's thankless, and improves when no one notices. That man cannot be shaken. He becomes undeniable, not by luck, but by refusing to break his rhythm. And it's not about being emotionless. You will feel tired. You will feel doubt. You will hear the voice that says, just this once, skip it. But that's the very moment discipline matters most. That's when you train your mind to lead, not follow. You override emotion with decision. You choose mission over mood. And with each choice, you gain ground. You grow stronger, until one day it's no longer a struggle. It's simply who you are. The disciplined man is rare. He isn't swayed by weather, emotions, or moods. He is guided by principles. He doesn't just want results. He earns them daily through effort, focus, and habits unseen but always respected in time. That's the man who wins. The one who doesn't chase motivation but commands himself. And because he commands himself, others follow and trust him. So what's your pattern? Do you swing the hammer daily, or only when it feels convenient? Do you treat your habits like law or like suggestions? Your answer is the difference between growth and stagnation, power and passivity, becoming or merely wishing. Don't let potential rot under inconsistency. Strike, swing, move, even when it's quiet, especially then. That's when discipline is carved into your soul. Let today prove not what you intend, but what you actually do. Show yourself you don't need to feel perfect, only consistent. Show the world your name stands for effort, action, and discipline. Years from now, when others wonder how you did it, they won't know. But you will. It was built one swing at a time. You didn't wait for motivation. You built discipline. That's why you won. That's why you keep winning. My thoughts create my world. Every building that rises, every cathedral touching the sky, every bridge crossing rivers, every invention that reshaped history, all began in one place. The quiet corner of imagination and belief. Someone dared to see what wasn't yet real. Your life is no different. What you think, you begin to build. What you allow to linger in your mind becomes the blueprint of your future. Not instantly, not obviously, but steadily and surely. Repeated thoughts form patterns. Patterns become beliefs. Beliefs shape decisions, and decisions shape everything. You don't experience life as it is. You experience it as you think it is. A man who believes he is powerless will live like a prisoner, even when the door is wide open. He hesitates when he could lead, bows when he should rise. But a man who believes he was born to lead stands taller, speaks sharper, and commands attention. Belief gives him form. That's why every morning, before the noise of the world invades, you must speak truth into your mind. My thoughts create my world, not in fantasy, but in direction. Believe in strength, and you act boldly. Believe in focus, and you move decisively. Believe in growth, and you step forward, even against resistance. Thoughts are not decoration. They are instruction. If you don't choose them, the world will choose them for you. So how do you take control? Guard the gate. Your mind is not a dumping ground for anxious chatter. It's your command center, your seat of power. When weak thoughts arise, I'm not enough, or what if I fail? Don't negotiate. Reject them at once. Replace them with strength. I am focused. I am building. I am prepared. Say it not once, but until your spirit aligns with it. Think of your mind as a garden. If weeds are left unchecked, they steal nutrients and choke growth. But the wise gardener inspects daily, uproots weeds early, and plants with intention. He waters what he wants to grow. Your thoughts work the same way. They are seeds, and you are the planter. If your mental soil is filled with doubt, fear, and comparison, how can you expect a harvest of confidence, success, and purpose? You can't. You must tend your thoughts as carefully as you would your future. This takes repetition. You don't think strong thoughts once and expect transformation. You train your mind daily, just as you train a muscle. Each thought is a rep. Each affirmation is a strike against old limitations. The more you speak power, the more your mind rewires its default patterns. You reprogram your script through force and consistency. Weak thoughts will still rise, but now you've built the habit of answering back, and that's when you start winning. Most people never question their thoughts. They assume every inner voice is truth. But the mind is often just an echo of fears, past experiences, and other people's opinions. You must interrupt it. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or harming me? If it shrinks you, weaken it. If it lifts you, strengthen it. This is the difference between mental slavery and mental mastery. Either you believe every passing thought, or you become the architect who filters, reshapes, and commands them into form. A powerful life begins with a powerful mind. And a powerful mind isn't always positive, it's disciplined. It knows what to allow, what to fight, and what to dismiss. If your thoughts were people, some deserve your attention, others deserve the door. Be ruthless. Cast out the ones that drain you. Invite in the ones that build you. And repeat this every single day. Why? Because the world never stops trying to program you. Ads, headlines, comments, they all push beliefs onto you. Most people don't even notice. But not you. You understand that thoughts shape actions, and actions create outcomes. That's why your first duty every morning isn't to react or worry. Your first duty is to plant, to declare, to shape your inner world before the outer world can interfere. You're not reacting to life. You're writing the script from within. Picture a builder stepping onto a plot of land. At first, there's nothing, but he already sees it in his mind. A vision, a structure, a home. That image fuels his first move. Soon the team arrives, materials come in, and brick by brick it becomes real. Without vision, nothing happens. And that's you. Each day, you step into the field of your own life. The real question is, what are you building with your thoughts? A fortress or a ruin? Vision is the start. Thought is the trigger. Action is the proof. So ask yourself, what kind of harvest are you planting in your mind today? A year from now, will you see the results of disciplined thinking or the damage of unchecked negativity? The choice is yours. No one enters your mind unless you allow it. No one controls your inner dialogue unless you surrender it. You are the gatekeeper, the gardener, the builder. Don't just think strong thoughts, live them. Let them shape your words, your posture, your decisions. Let them guide your standards, your focus, your endurance. And when doubt rises, and it will, you answer with proof. You move anyway. You act anyway. You build anyway. Because you're not waiting for your world to change. You're changing your thoughts, and those thoughts are reshaping your world. Your mind is not a mirror of the past. It is the map of your future. Design it wisely, fill it intentionally, guard it fiercely, and speak this truth each morning. My thoughts create my world, because they do. And that world begins now, within you. I am guided by purpose, not emotion. Men ruled by emotion drift, their lives unstable, tossed by the weather of their moods. One day they burn with fire, the next they are scattered ash. They chase comfort as if it were a prize. But comfort only brings stagnation. Their actions rise and fall with their feelings, and so their life stays unsteady. The man guided by purpose is different. He is steady. He walks with direction. He is not cold, but he is calculated. He is not cruel, but he is clear. Dangerous in the best way, because he cannot be swayed by the noise around him. He is led not by impulse, but by intent. Every morning, you stand at a crossroads. One path is ruled by emotion, seductive, offering comfort, indulgence, excuses. It whispers, take it easy. The other path is guided by purpose, demanding effort, offering resistance, whispering, stay the course. One leads backward, the other leads to greatness. Most men choose the first, but you must choose the second, because ease will lie to you, but purpose never will. It may be hard, but it's honest. It may stretch you, but it will grow you. Say it now, I am guided by purpose, not emotion. That becomes your compass, your inner truth. Let it anchor your mind before the world pulls at your nerves. When fear tells you to shrink, remember your aim. When fatigue begs for comfort, remember your aim. When critics laugh, when friends don't understand, when temptation knocks, remember your aim. Purpose makes you unshakable. It reminds you that you are not your feelings, you are your decisions. And those decisions must come from vision, not mood. So how do you align yourself each day? Write your mission, simple, clear, and real. Not a fantasy, not a wish list, but a statement of who you are and where you're going. Read it every morning. Let it speak louder than your doubts. Let it remind you of the bigger picture. Because when you lose your why, you fall prey to how you feel. But when you keep your purpose close, you act with intention, rise with clarity, and move with discipline. You do what must be done, regardless of emotion. Picture a sailor in the middle of a storm. The wind screams. The waves rise like walls. Panic tempts him to toss the compass and follow his gut. But he doesn't. He holds the course, not because it's easy, but because the compass doesn't lie. He knows storms pass, but direction must remain. So he holds steady, and soon the clouds begin to part. The man led by purpose does the same. When emotional storms arrive, and they will, he doesn't toss his mission aside. He anchors to it. And because of that, he survives. He wins. This doesn't mean he becomes emotionless. It means he doesn't let emotion take the wheel. Feelings are passengers. Purpose drives. You don't ignore what you feel, you just don't bow to it. If anger rises, you channel it. If fear stirs, you face it. If joy comes, you let it fuel you. But none of these emotions dictate your actions. Your mission does. That's where strength lies. Not in how you feel, but in what you do when feelings come. Emotion is temporary. Purpose is permanent. Mood is a liar. It tells you to skip the workout, avoid the call, or delay the action. And every time you obey, you weaken your edge. But every time you choose purpose over emotion, you sharpen it. Discipline gets easier, direction clearer, and confidence stronger. Not because you were always inspired, but because you acted when you weren't. That's what separates you from the average man. You don't drift, you decide. Most men wait for motivation to strike before they move. But the man guided by purpose moves first and lets motivation catch up. He doesn't need external hype. He has an inner fire. And when that fire flickers, he fans it with action, not delay, not excuses. Just one step forward, then another. Momentum doesn't come from mood. It comes from movement. That's why the first task of your day is sacred. It's never just about checking a box. It's about declaring, I am in charge. Distractions will come. People will offer easier paths. Emotions will tempt you with shortcuts. But you must stay rooted. Ask yourself, does this serve my mission? If the answer is no, let it go. That one filter clears away most of what wastes your time. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be direct. You don't need to feel good. You need to build good. That's the power of purpose. It simplifies life. You know what matters, and you move only in that direction. This is the path of builders, of warriors, of men who are hard to stop. While others debate, they act. While others react, they stay focused. While others crumble, they rise again and again. Not because they felt like it, but because they trained themselves to act from vision, not emotion. You must become that man, steady, clear, anchored. Not perfect, but purposeful. Not driven by feelings, but by fire that burns beyond comfort. So ask yourself, are your decisions today built on direction or on emotion? Are you building your future with intention or just reacting to your moods? If you're tired, good, work anyway. If you're afraid, good, step anyway. If you're uncertain, good, decide anyway. Because a man guided by purpose cannot be stopped by mood. He moves by principle. And in a world full of men led by feelings, he becomes rare, respected, unshakable. Let others drift, you drive. Let others wait, you begin. Let others bow to feelings, you lead with fire. Your compass is not comfort. Your compass is purpose. Hold to it, speak it aloud each morning. I am guided by purpose, not emotion. Then prove it with how you live, with the discipline in your hands and the mission in your eyes. That is the way. That is your path. And you were born to walk it. I choose what I become. You are not born finished. You are born capable, full of potential, unfinished by design. Every day you rise, you are becoming something. Stronger or weaker, sharper or duller, closer or further from who you're meant to be. The question is not if you're changing, but who you are becoming, and whether you are choosing it. Most men don't. They move through life unconsciously, repeating habits they never chose, carrying labels they never earned, letting their surroundings shape their identity instead of taking that responsibility themselves. But the man who rises decides who he will be, and then he builds it, brick by brick. Most men drift, not because they're lazy, but because they never learn direction. They wake up and simply repeat yesterday. They react to traffic, to emails, to moods, to opinions. Their lives become a cycle of reactions, never creation. But the men who rise act with intention. They walk like sculptors, careful, precise, decisive. They don't wait to be told who they are. They forge it. They know life doesn't hand you identity. You must build it. Every word, every decision, every response is a tool, and with it, they carve their character. Each morning, you must claim it. I choose what I become, not someday, not when it's easier, but now. Don't wait for someone to name you. Don't hope purpose falls from the sky. You don't discover who you are, you decide it. You speak it. You walk in that image before anyone else believes it. The world will wait for proof, but you don't. You lead with conviction. The day you stop asking, "Who am I?" and start declaring, "Here's who I'm becoming," is the day you begin to take real control of your life. How do you shape that becoming? Through alignment. Your desired identity must shape your daily actions. If you say you want to be disciplined, but still hit snooze, you're becoming something else. If you want to be a leader but shrink from responsibility, your actions are shaping you into a follower. The man who rises doesn't hope his actions align with his dreams. He forces them to. Action comes before title. You don't become strong and then act strong. You act strong again and again until it becomes who you are. You act it into existence. Picture a potter at his wheel. His first spin is awkward. The clay wobbles, his hands uncertain. The shape is unclear, but he doesn't stop. He keeps pressing, shaping, refining. Day after day, he turns rough formlessness into form until, one day, the clay obeys. It bends to his intention. It becomes what he envisions. That is your life. You are both the potter and the clay. The hands that shape you are your habits. The pressure that molds you is your daily discipline. And the vision, that's the man you're becoming, if you stay at the wheel. Becoming isn't a feeling, it's a process, and processes are built on repetition. What you do consistently is what you become permanently. That's why you must treat each day like a sculptor treats his chisel, with purpose. Don't live by default. Don't move unconsciously. Begin with the end in mind. Ask yourself, what kind of man am I building today? Then make sure your actions match that blueprint. Because you are building, whether you intend to or not. Every decision is either shaping you into strength or softening you into regret. This isn't about perfection, it's about pattern. The first attempt may be messy, your hands may tremble, but if you press forward with intention, the clay starts to listen. Life begins to yield to your design. The world will still test you. Doubts will still rise. But now you move forward with purpose. You no longer ask the world to define you. You step into each day as the author of your becoming. And with time, consistency turns into confidence. There is no confidence like the kind you earn. At first, others may not understand. They'll say you've changed, that you're obsessed, that you're different. Good. Most people fear intentional change. They'd rather drift and call it peace. You'd rather struggle and call it becoming. Don't expect applause. Don't expect anyone to believe in your process until they see results. And even then, some still won't. But you'll know. You'll know because you built it, because you chose it, because you didn't wait. You worked. Every step forward becomes your signature. Every small win becomes your stamp. The cost of becoming is discomfort. It demands effort when you don't feel like giving it. It demands decisions when your mind craves delay. But what's the alternative? To stay the same, to coast, to live by default? That path only leads to regret. That's the life of a man who wakes up one day wondering where his power went. Don't be that man. Be the one who molds. Be the one who walks into a future he is actively designing, not one passively assigned. So ask yourself, are you becoming by design or by default? Are your habits pushing you toward your vision or pulling you away from it? Are you choosing your thoughts, your standards, your direction, or letting others set it for you? This is your life, your name, your legacy. No one else will build it. No one else can. The hammer is in your hand. The wheel is spinning. The clay is ready. Press, shape, build. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to be recognized. Start shaping now. Start walking like the man you want to be. Not tomorrow, today. Let each day be a stroke on the sculpture of your life. Let your consistency be the force that turns uncertainty into clarity. You are not finished. You are not stuck. You are becoming. And that becoming is your responsibility, your art, your power. Speak it now. I choose what I become. Then act as if it's already true. Because if you act with intention long enough, it will be. No one owes you, and that's your power. It's dangerous to believe the world owes you anything. Many men live trapped in that illusion, waiting and wishing for respect, money, love, or recognition, as if life were a fair deal or a guaranteed reward. But here's the truth. Nothing is promised. Not love, not fairness, not success. And that truth isn't a curse, it's freedom. Once you stop believing you're owed, you realize the full power of what you can earn. That shift from expectation to ownership is where transformation begins. The man who stops expecting starts building. When you expect nothing, you gain everything. You stop waiting for someone to choose you. You stop wishing someone would save you. You stop begging for opportunities. Instead, you create them. You walk into each day with your sleeves rolled up, not your hands out. That mindset frees you. It places the weight of your life on your own shoulders, not as a burden, but as a privilege. You are no longer a passive receiver. You are the active builder. And no one can take that from you, because no one gave it to you. You earned it. You owned it. Each morning, declare it. No one owes me, and that's my power. Let it echo through your bones. Let it silence blame. Let it drown out self-pity. Because the man who believes he is owed carries entitlement in his eyes and resentment in his heart. But the man who believes he owes himself everything becomes unstoppable. He doesn't depend, he doesn't beg, and he doesn't wait for others to carry his vision. If help comes, he's grateful. If no one shows up, he still rises, because he was never waiting to begin with. So how do you own this power? First, refuse to complain. Complaining is the language of the powerless. Every complaint gives your strength away, declaring, "This thing controls me." But when you stay silent and act, you take the wheel. Second, reject envy. Envy poisons potential and tricks you into thinking someone else's success means there's less for you. But success isn't a pie. It's a fire, so light your own. Finally, stop measuring your worth by what others give. Measure it by what you create. Be the man who enters the room with something to offer, not the one waiting to be noticed. Life will test this mindset. People may overlook your effort. They may forget your name. They might not say thank you, but you must keep creating anyway. Why? Because your value isn't tied to applause. It's built on output, on integrity. You become the man who brings value everywhere, not because it's returned, but because it's who you are. You stop asking what's missing and start asking, what can I build here? What can I give? That's the difference between the entitled and the empowered. Picture a man standing in an empty field. No fruit, no shelter, no applause. Others pass by, saying, "There's nothing here," and move on. But this man stays. He digs, he plants, he waters. He works in silence while others mock. And in time, something grows, not by luck, not by handouts, but by hands that never waited. He feeds not only himself, but others. Why? Because he understood destiny isn't discovered, it's built. He didn't wait. He worked. And that made all the difference. Most people want to be rescued. They wait for better circumstances, a better job, a better relationship, a better year. But waiting only robs you of the time you could be building. The truth is, no one is coming. And that should excite you, because if no one is coming, it means it's up to you. And when it's up to you, you can begin right now. You're not waiting on permission. You're not trapped by delay. You're just one decision away from motion. And motion creates momentum. Momentum builds everything. Stop asking the world for what it was never designed to give you. Recognition, validation, permission. These are shadows. Chase them, and you'll exhaust yourself. Instead, build your value, and in time, recognition will follow. But even if it doesn't, you'll be strong anyway, because you'll know, I built this. You'll stand taller, speak clearer, think sharper. Not because someone crowned you, but because you earned your crown in private. That's what makes your power untouchable. When you stop expecting others to deliver your life to you, you begin delivering it yourself. You stop checking who liked your work and start creating more work. You stop needing to be understood and start understanding yourself. That independence breeds confidence. The man who builds alone is no longer afraid of being alone. And that man becomes dangerous, in the best way, because no one can take from him what he never borrowed. So ask yourself, are you expecting someone to deliver your destiny, or are you delivering it yourself? Are you waiting for someone to open a door, or are you building your own with your bare hands? Are you hoping for someone to believe in you? Or have you decided to believe in yourself so deeply that nothing can stop you? The answers to these questions will shape your path. They will define your days. They will decide whether you live in quiet resentment or rise with relentless responsibility. Say it again, no one owes me, and that's my power. Then step into the world and prove it. With your work, your voice, your grit. Let others wait. Let others wish. You build, you deliver, you become. I am unshaken by criticism or praise. Praise can make you soft, lulling you into comfort, ego, and the illusion that you've already arrived. Criticism, if you let it, can turn you bitter, stir resentment, and shrink your stride. But the man who rises above both becomes unshakable. He doesn't build his life on compliments, nor does he crumble at insults. He stands on something stronger, his principles, his vision, his values. These do not bend with public opinion. They don't shift with mood or moment. They hold like steel in a storm. Most men are puppets of approval, inflated by kind words, crushed by harsh ones. Their identity is fragile, borrowed from applause and shattered by criticism. But you are not most men. You must root yourself in something deeper. You must keep walking regardless of what's said. Because if your motivation depends on praise, and your momentum dies under criticism, you are not yet free. Each morning remind yourself, I am unshaken by criticism or praise. Let that be your armor. Let it silence both the cheering crowd and the bitter chorus. If a man applauds you, nod and keep building. If a man mocks you, nod and keep building. Neither voice holds the pen that writes your destiny. Your story is not theirs to shape. Your worth is not theirs to measure. You rise, you fall, you move, not because of what they say, but because of what you've chosen to build. So how do you stay grounded in a world obsessed with opinions? You must know who you are. You must define what you stand for before the world tries to decide it for you. Don't perform for the crowd. Don't shrink under disapproval. Do the work that matters, whether anyone sees it or not. Live by conviction, not applause. Let principle, not popularity, guide your actions. If no one claps, you still build. If everyone claps, you still refine. Purpose is your compass, not praise. Picture a mighty tree in the storm. The wind howls, the branches whip, leaves scatter, yet the trunk stands firm. Why? Because the roots run deep. That is who you must become. The world will push, voices will rise, some lifting, others tearing. But if your roots are strong, if your identity is grounded beneath the surface, you won't fall. You may sway, you may shake, but you will stand. Praise feels good. It's natural, but you don't need it. Accept it with humility, then return to work. Because praise is not payment. It's just a breeze. Chase it, and you risk becoming addicted to being seen instead of becoming real. Criticism will come too. It always does. Some may sharpen you, but most won't. Let it pass like wind through branches. Don't absorb it. Don't replay it. Instead, refocus and continue. Ask yourself, are you bending to opinion or rooted in purpose? Are your choices guided by values or by fear of how others might respond? When someone applauds, do you pause and bask in it? When someone insults, do you shrink and hesitate? These questions matter because your freedom, your clarity, and your power depend on the answer. They all live on the other side of detachment from opinion, not in indifference, but in independence. You don't have to reject feedback. You just can't be owned by it. You must train yourself to build in silence, to keep moving when it's lonely, to show up when no one is watching. Because most of your greatness will be forged in private. The world sees results, but you see the hours. You see the mornings when no one believed. You see the nights when doubt screamed. And yet, you still moved. That's where real strength is born. Not from applause, not from acceptance, but from knowing you did the work anyway. A man's true foundation is revealed not when everyone supports him, but when no one does. When the room is cold, when the comments cut, when the world misunderstands. If you can still build, still speak truth, still hold your standard, then you are free. You are rare. Because you're no longer ruled by the moment, you're led by mission. And a man like that can't be stopped, because nothing outside of him controls what he chooses within. So what do you root yourself in? Truth, purpose, vision, the values you set before the test comes. Write them down, live by them, and when the world's winds howl, return to them. Let them be your anchor. Let them be your weight. They will keep you from being swept away by the noise. And there will always be noise. but noise only moves the unrooted. Let this be your mantra. Praise does not define me. Criticism does not defeat me. I build anyway. Say it, then prove it every single day. In silence, in storms, in shadows, and in light. Let others talk. Let others watch. You build. You grow. You become unshaken, unbent, rooted, and always ready. I am the cause, not the effect. Too many men drift through life as if it just happens to them, like passengers on a bus they never chose. When things go wrong, they complain. When opportunities slip by, they blame timing, people, or luck. They react to the weather, the news, or their moods. Always shifting, never grounded. They live like prisoners to fate. But real success begins when you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I going to do about it? You're not a product of your surroundings. You're the producer of your outcomes. And once you grasp this truth, you stop waiting and start building. Each morning, remind yourself, I am the cause, not the effect. Say it aloud. Say it with conviction. You are not a leaf blown by the wind. You are the wind. You move, you initiate, you create. Your life is not an accident. It's an assignment. You're not waiting for someone else to set the tone. You are the tone setter. You bring the energy into the room. You strike the match when others are still searching for one. And once you own this mindset, everything about your presence shifts. You go from passive to powerful, from reactive to relentless. How do you live this truth each day? By acting before anything outside you dictates a signal. Before the world speaks, you give yourself a mission. Don't wait for your boss to hand you direction. Don't wait for the market to shift. Don't even wait for your mood to rise. Lead yourself. Make the first move. Start your morning with motion. Get up and command your day. Decide the kind of man you're going to be, and act like him before the world even wakes. Ask yourself, are you waiting for conditions or creating them? Most people wait for perfect timing. They wait until they feel ready. They wait for someone else's belief. But life doesn't reward the man who waits. It rewards the one who moves anyway. If you want to win, you must take responsibility for your environment. Become the architect of your hours, the initiator of your ideas. Stop waiting for a door to open. Build the door. Build the key. Build the entire house if necessary. Refuse to live like a thermometer, rising and falling with the emotions around you. Be the thermostat. Set the temperature. Set the tone. Walk into rooms and bring calm where panic reigns. Bring energy where laziness lingers. Bring clarity where chaos thrives. While others wait to see what the day brings, you decide, and then you make it so. That's how leaders move. That's how winners think. Not as effects, but as causes. You are the initiator, the fire starter, the one who creates momentum when others are stuck. If you wait for applause, you'll wait forever. Applaud yourself with action. Clap with your effort. Celebrate with your discipline. The world owes you nothing. So stop waiting for signs. Be the signal. Be the reason things begin. Be the reason momentum builds. The reason something shifts today. That is the mindset of a builder, a warrior, a man who leads his own life. And it isn't about aggression. It's about intention. It's about waking each day with a target and hitting it. Even if the step is small, even if it's quiet, movement creates power. Action sharpens belief. You don't need to conquer the mountain in a day. Just take one decisive step, but make sure it's yours. Let your standard be the spark that starts the chain reaction. Because when you consistently take the lead in your own life, you begin to influence everything around you. The world respects the man who creates momentum. Why? Because most never do. Most hope, most drift, most delay. But when a man starts to move, the world adjusts. It responds. Opportunities notice. People notice. Not because you were loud, but because you were clear, disciplined, and consistent. You chose to be the cause. And in time, the world bends to those who act with purpose long enough. So ask yourself right now, what am I waiting for that I could already be building? Where have I been passive when I should be powerful? What excuse am I still clinging to that needs to die? These questions matter because you were not born to react. You were born to create. And once you fully embrace that truth, you will no longer be a victim of conditions. You'll be the man who builds the very conditions others admire. Repeat it every morning. I am the cause, not the effect. Then prove it in your actions, in your presence, in your standards. Refuse to be ruled by moods, fears, or delays. Set your pace. Set your purpose. Let the world feel your impact. Not because it handed you anything, but because you showed up and made it happen. You don't need permission to begin. Most people are waiting. They wait for the mentor, the job offer, the sign. They wait for someone to tell them they're ready. They wait for applause, for recognition, for the right moment that never comes. But the great ones, they don't wait. They move. They take the first step long before the crowd gathers. They act without confirmation. They begin with what they have, even when it isn't enough. That's what separates the remembered from the forgotten. The courage to begin without permission is rare. While others stall in fear, builders move in silence, and that silence becomes their strength. There is no gatekeeper standing in your way, except the one you've imagined. You believe someone must give you the green light, that someone has to validate your potential. But that's the lie. You don't need permission to build your life. You are not on trial. You are not waiting in line. Every morning, declare it with fire. I don't need permission to begin. Say it loud enough to silence every doubt, because it's the truth. Once you own this truth, you become dangerous in the best way. You don't wait for someone to invite your ideas. You speak them. You don't wait for a seat at the table. You build your own. You don't need applause to act. You don't need permission to move. While others talk about what they're planning, you're already creating. While they hesitate, you make decisions. While they overthink, you execute. The man who understands he can begin at any moment becomes unstoppable because he's no longer ruled by fear, approval, or timing. So how do you break free from the waiting trap? First, stop asking if you're ready. You'll never feel ready. That's a lie your mind tells to protect you from risk. Second, stop measuring your worth by who supports you. You don't need a following to start. You need only a mission. Look in the mirror. Not once. Begin. Treat the next hour like it matters. Like it's the first brick of something massive. Because it is. Movements don't begin in stadiums. They begin in small rooms, in quiet hours, with men who decide instead of wait. Imagine a man standing in a workshop. He holds tools in his hand and a vision in his heart, yet he doesn't move. He waits for approval, for someone to say, yes, you're ready. Days pass, then years. The tools rust, the vision fades. Now picture another man. No applause, no mentor, just raw ambition. A quiet decision, and he begins. Alone, focused, relentless. By the end of the year, one man is still waiting, while the other has built something real. Brick by brick, without permission. So, what are you still waiting for? Whose voice are you putting above your own? A parent's? A teacher's? A stranger on the internet? You're handing your future to someone else. But here's the truth. The most important yes is the one you give yourself. The moment you stop waiting to be chosen and choose yourself, your life shifts. That's when you stop watching others build and start becoming the builder. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. You don't need the full picture. You just need a spark and the courage to act on it. If you wait for clarity, you'll wait forever. Clarity comes from action. You learn as you go. You shape the path by walking it. There is no substitute for forward motion. Start before you're ready. Start before you're known. Start before you're celebrated. Because the only man who reaches the top is the one who started climbing. This doesn't mean rushing blindly. It means trusting your instincts more than your fears. It means valuing progress over perfection. It means trading applause for bricks, laying them one by one. Every early morning, every late night, every risk taken without permission becomes part of your foundation. Over time, those bricks form your legacy. Not because someone declared you qualified, but because you acted like you were. The world will tell you that you must be chosen, that you need a degree, a follower count, or a title to begin. But history was shaped by those who refused to wait. They picked up the hammer, opened the door, declared who they were becoming, and then became it. Not through permission, but through persistence, boldness, and self-belief. You were never meant to sit quietly and hope. You were meant to build loudly and live boldly. So repeat it again with force. I don't need permission to begin. Let those words shake off hesitation. Let them awaken your ambition. Let them remind you that your power isn't out there waiting. It's already inside you. You have the tools, you have the vision. And if you start now, the world won't be able to ignore you. One day they'll ask, who gave him permission? And the answer will be no one. You gave it to yourself. So move. Decide. Begin. Never wait again. My standards create my results. You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. Life will always meet you at the level of your standards, not your wishes. It doesn't respond to hope. It responds to what you allow. If you accept laziness, you'll live with lazy results. If you lean on excuses, your life will be built on them. But if you raise your standards, your world begins to rise with you. Your standards are your ceiling. And if you want to go higher, you must raise that ceiling. You don't wait for life to upgrade you. You choose to upgrade yourself. That's when everything changes. Each morning, remind yourself of this truth. My standards create my results. Not motivation, not luck, not even opportunity. Standards. Because motivation fades, opportunities come and go, but standards remain when nothing else does. They are the inner rules that declare, this is who I am. This is what I demand of myself. They are the true line between average and exceptional. A man with high standards refuses to quit halfway. He doesn't cut corners when no one is watching. He doesn't cheat his effort or settle for good enough when he knows it isn't. He makes a quiet pact with himself to show up fully, finish strong, and never lie about how hard he tried. That's how excellence is built, not with flair or noise, but with honor. And the real test of standards isn't when people are watching. It's when they aren't. That's when your true self steps forward. So how do you live this way? First, you decide, truly decide. What's non-negotiable in your life? What behaviors, disciplines, and thoughts are required for the man you're becoming? Define them clearly. Then ask yourself, what does my best look like when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when I don't feel like it? That's your standard, not the easy version. The one you hold when excuses come easy and results feel far away. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. So set them high and never lower the line. Picture a craftsman building fine furniture. He could cut corners to save time, use cheaper wood to boost profits, or skip the parts no one ever sees. But he doesn't. Even on the underside of the table, he does it right. Why? Because it's not about who notices, it's about who he is. That's the power of high standards. They're not for the crowd. They're for the man in the mirror. They shape you into someone you respect, even in silence. So ask yourself, are your standards shaping your greatness, or just protecting your excuses? Because weak standards give you a place to hide. They whisper, this is fine, when you know it isn't. Strong standards challenge you. They force you to stretch, to face your weaknesses, and to rise through them. If you want a stronger life, don't beg for better days. Become a better man. Raise your internal minimums, and soon your external results will rise to meet them. The man who demands more of himself will always surpass the one who waits for perfect conditions. Why? Because perfect conditions are rare, but discipline is always available. The man with high standards doesn't need everything to align. He only needs his word, and he keeps it. He shows up. He acts like greatness is expected, because it is. And life rewards him in ways it never does the man who keeps negotiating with his own potential. Your standards become your invisible structure. They hold you steady when everything else feels shaky. They mark the line between finishing and flinching, between progress and plateau. And no one can set them for you. You must choose them. You must declare, this is how I work. This is how I think. This is what I demand of myself. Even when it's hard. Even when you're tired. Even when no one is watching. Excellence isn't built in grand gestures. It's formed in quiet consistencies. So start today. Raise one standard. Maybe it's how you speak to yourself. Maybe it's how you show up to your work. Maybe it's how you finish what you start. Make one part of your life non-negotiable and hold the line. Because the moment you stop accepting less from yourself, the world follows. That's how growth begins. That's how success is built. That's how you rise. Say it again with conviction. My standards create my results. Then prove it, every hour, every choice, every step forward. Let your standards speak louder than your feelings. Let them lift your effort, sharpen your focus, and shape your life. You don't need perfect motivation. You need unshakable standards. Raise them, honor them, and everything else will align. My legacy is built today. You won't be remembered for your plans. You'll be remembered for your actions. You're not waiting to leave a legacy. You're building it right now. Too many believe legacy is a distant reward, something etched in stone at the end of life. But legacy is built in the details, in how you treat others, how you show up, and how you choose when no one is watching. Each morning, remind yourself, my legacy is built today, not tomorrow, not someday. Today, every word you speak and every task you complete is a brick in the monument you're building. So how do you craft it? Begin with intention. Speak less, do more. Help without needing credit. Pursue excellence when it's difficult. Keep promises to yourself. Picture a man walking a dirt path. Each day, he lays one stone. At first, others laugh. It looks like nothing. But over the years, that path becomes a road, then a landmark, then a legacy, all because he built daily. Ask yourself, what stone are you laying today? Don't chase monuments. Build them quietly, relentlessly. Every morning is a new chance to rise with strength, clarity, and purpose. Speak power into your day before the world whispers doubt into you. The words you choose shape the life you live. So choose boldly, choose belief, and remember, your voice is your first victory. Start strong, and everything else will follow. Speak it, live it, become it. Wishing you health, happiness, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.